The Kaltan tribe lived in the shadow of the great ice mountains, the heart of their land. Snowstorms whipped across the plains, the wind carrying the bitter cold that could freeze a man's breath in his lungs. The Kaltan people had learned to endure. Their homes were built from ice and stone, and their fires burned with a fierce heat, fueled by the rare Firestone crystals that lit their villages and warmed their hearts. But even with their strength, they faced a deepening crisis. The Firestone mines had begun to dwindle. Once they were plentiful, hidden deep within the ice cliffs, but now the stone was becoming rarer. The tribe's elders whispered of the Varus tribe, a nomadic people who roamed the south and had recently discovered the Firestone's power. At the village's edge, Tharok stood, his eyes scanning the vast white horizon. His fingers brushed the Firestone embedded in his chestplate, a token of his tribe's power. His mind was consumed with thoughts of the Varus tribe and the rumored attacks they were planning to launch. The Varus had always been a rival, but now it seemed they were ready to go to war over the resources the Kaltan had held for generations. Tharok's grandmother, the revered Elder Orin, approached him with a heavy heart. In her hands she held a weathered scroll, marked with the ancient symbols of the Kaltan. The scroll spoke of the Firestone's power to not only provide heat and light, but also to unite the hearts of the Kaltan people, if it was used with purity. Tharok, 'tis said that the Firestone can forge the hearts of the Kaltan together, making us strong against the darkness that threatens to break us, Elder Orin whispered. But if used recklessly, it will burn us from within. You must lead them, Tharok, but you must also show them unity. Only in unity will the Firestone's power guide us. Tharok's heart ached with the weight of her words. Unity was something his people had struggled with for generations, especially in times of hardship. The Kaltan were fierce and proud, but they were also stubborn and divided. Now, as war loomed, Tharok had to find a way to unite them, or risk losing everything. The first signs of the Varus tribe's arrival came as a distant rumble across the ice fields. A storm was brewing, but this storm was not of nature, it was of war. The Varus had sent scouts to scout the glacier's southern edge, and they were on their way. The Kaltan people gathered in the central hall, the great fire of their ancestors, burning bright at the center. Tharok addressed the tribe, his voice echoing through the hall. "The Varus come for what is ours," he said, his voice steady but full of tension. "But we will not fall. The Firestone is not just a rock, it is the soul of the Kaltan. We will fight for it, and we will fight for our future." The elders nodded, though their eyes betrayed their concern. They knew the Varus were more than just warriors. They were scavengers of the land, ruthless in their pursuit of resources. The Kaltan warriors, hardened by years of surviving the elements, prepared for battle. They donned their battle armor, made from the thick pelts of the ice beasts they hunted, and sharpened their spears and axes. Tharok felt the weight of his tribe's trust on his shoulders. He was their leader, but unity would be tested in the coming storm. The battle was brutal. The Varus warriors, clad in black furs and bone armor, came charging across the ice fields, their cries echoing like the winds of the storm. The Kaltan, though outnumbered, stood firm. They fought with the fierceness of those who knew that if they failed, their way of life would be extinguished forever. Tharok fought at the front, his blade cutting through the chaos, his eyes locked on the leader of the Varus, a warrior named Kaltan. Kaltan was a brute, skilled in the ways of war. But Tharok was faster, driven by a purpose that burned brighter than any fire. But as the battle raged on, Tharok noticed something. The Kaltan were fighting with anger, not unity. They were divided. each warrior fighting for their own survival, not for the tribe. The Firestone glowed weakly in the distance, its light flickering like a dying ember. In the heat of battle, Tharok realized what he had to do. He called for his warriors to fall back, to regroup. But it was too late. The Varys had surrounded them, cutting off their retreat. With no other choice, Tharok made a decision that would forever change the course of the battle. And the fate, the Kaltan. He took the Firestone, now glowing faintly in the midst of the chaos, and held it high. Its light shone brighter than ever, and for a moment the battle seemed to stop. The warriors from both tribes stood, mesmerized by the power of the stone. "Brothers and sisters," Tharok called out, his voice echoing across the glacier. "This is not just a battle for the Firestone. This is a battle for our survival, as one tribe, one people. We are the Kaltan. We are stronger together. Let this stone remind us that only in unity can we stand against the storm." With those words, a wave of realization washed over the Kaltan. They saw Tharok's vision, felt the power of the Firestone, and for the first time, they truly came together. The battle turned in their favor. The Varys, seeing the Kaltan united, retreated, realizing they could not defeat such a force. As the battle ended and the snow began to settle, Tharok stood at the center of the battlefield, the Firestone still, glowing brightly in his hand. The Kaltan tribe gathered around him, their faces marked by exhaustion but filled with hope. "You have done it," Elder Oren said, her voice full of pride. "You have shown them that we are stronger when we stand as one. The Firestone has guided you, Tharok, and it has shown you the true power of unity." Tharok nodded, his heart heavy with the weight of the sacrifice. "We fought not for the Firestone, but for each other. And in doing so, we have secured our future." The Kaltan tribe had won. Not just the battle, but the war for their identity. And as the sun broke through the clouds, casting a golden glow over the glacier, the Kaltan people knew that as long as they stood together, no storm could ever defeat them. The story of Tharok and the Kaltan tribe is a reminder. Unity is not just a choice. It is the only way to survive in a world that is constantly changing. What would you